Of course, none of us are strangers to change over the course of our long careers, but it does feel like we're in the midst of a once-in-a-lifetime shift. The architecture of finance, and by that I mean global currencies all the way down to payments, lending and deposits. It's unbundling bit by bit, and it's rebundling around a new, largely digital architecture.
Wow, so that was a short clip of Jane Fraser, who of course is the CEO of Citigroup, talking about a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity as it relates to finance. And we are going to play the extended version of that clip because she talks about an entire digital overhaul and an innovation of the entire financial system. Now, we've continued to say that there's going to be a number of cryptocurrencies that play a role in that. One very obvious one, though, however, is, of course, XRP. So we're going to be exploring this in this video. This is, of course, a clip from Sibos back in 2021, October 2021. So it's an older clip, but it's very relevant because these things that are coming to pass have been worked on for years prior. And this is often the case with things. There's always a plan for you guys. There's always a plan for the masses that is essentially laid out by the very few at the top. And cryptocurrencies, since their inception, since Bitcoin really, or you could say before that it was either 94 or 1996, the NSA paper that talked about a kind of monetary cryptographic mint. Cryptos, since their inception, have really been set on this path to fundamentally overhaul our financial system. And Bitcoin obviously came about in 2008 when the financial system was, really truly broken. And these things that are happening today have been laid out years prior. And ultimately, the opportunity, I guess, for us as crypto investors is, for the first time ever, we actually have an opportunity to invest in the new financial system. And I think XRP is going to play a big role of that. And you can see evidence of that all over the place. So we're going to play the second half of this clip. Then we're going to be diving over to, and we'll talk about price a little bit, an article that was done by Fox Business. And here they have Ripple poised for New York approval of stablecoins set to enter regulatory US crypto markets. And once we played this clip of Jane Fraser, the more extended version, we'll be diving into this and we're going to be looking at what Mr. Flood has to say, Congressman, about the fact that the US are going to adopt stablecoins, largely Ripple, because Donald Trump has also said they won't allow for a central bank CBDC. So stablecoins, which are very much the same thing, are just going to play that role. He very much talks about how stablecoins are going to maintain the US's dominance from a fiscal point of view and also a technological point of view. And I think Ripple fits every single part of that bill. It's no coincidence that Ripple has made this move on the back end of a Trump victory because it's ultimately signaling of what's to come. Remember, we've had that price prediction of XRP at $19.27. That is very much taking place today, ladies and gentlemen. And it looks a lot more believable after this rally. Hopefully you guys are all positioned like we were beforehand. I've got to say, XLM, I know there's a beef between these two communities. Have a basket of horses or a stable of horses. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. XLM for me has actually significantly outperformed XRP. I think for me and my Patrons, it's something like 400% up. But XRP, we're only at just shy of $2, has got a long way to go. So we're starting to ramble on now. Let us go back and play the full clip of Jane Fraser talking about this kind of once-in-a-lifetime opportunity with the financial systems and the kind of digitization of it. And remember what these cryptocurrencies are doing.
Of course, none of us are strangers to change over the course of our long careers, but it does feel like we're in the midst of a once-in-a-lifetime shift. The architecture of finance, and by that I mean global currencies all the way down to payments, lending and deposits. It's unbundling bit by bit, and it's rebundling around a new, largely digital architecture. And this happened in trading over the last few decades, and it was an evolution. But what we're seeing now is more of a revolution, with new architectures supplanting old ones. And the way our industry has operated for decades, it's going to be replaced with new ways. And the scale and the speed required to serve our clients, it's of a completely different magnitude. So here at Citi, where we move over $4 trillion globally each day, where we enable clients to issue payments in 144 different currencies, where we do business in more than 160 different countries and are on the ground in nearly 100 of them, well, we have a deep appreciation for scale and agility. And we're seeing how the world is becoming more global and more local at the same time, and how it's becoming faster and how it's becoming more complex. We're reshaping our firm and our exceptional assets so that we maintain our relevancy and we continue to deliver for clients. Swift, as the community that underpins global flows, must make the same journey. Not just talk about it, but actually accelerate action.
I mean, just listening to that, it really does send shivers up my spine, because it's never been more evident to me, and this was again a clip from 2021, that these cryptocurrencies that we talk about today are going to be exactly what she's talking about there. This overhaul, they're going to work with the traditional financial system, which is very ironic given what this sort of industry spawned out of, this libertarian ideology, which I think was largely hijacked. Hijacking Bitcoin is a great book to read, by the way. There was a clear path for Bitcoin never to scale and actually be practically used as a peer-to-peer currency, and that's all to do with the block wars that took place. But these cryptocurrencies like XRP, like some of the others that we talk about out there, it's very clear and obvious to me that they're actually going to be exactly what, or are exactly what Jane's talking about here. And this is just exciting from an investment point of view. We are literally investing, as Jane says there, in a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity that is a nothing short of, and she uses the word revolutionary, technology that is being introduced into the financial markets. It's exciting, guys. It's very, very exciting. And we're just starting to see the fruits of that labor that myself and many of you guys out there that have been watching the channel for a long time have been putting in regards to looking into this technology and sort of investing in it for ultimately what we thought was to come. What's coming is basically going to happen for the same reasons that we no longer send letters as the preferred method of communication, but emails. Just the other day, and in fact, I think as recent as yesterday, there was a Fox Business article that said Ripple poised for the New York approval of stablecoin, set to enter regulated US crypto markets. Now, this is very interesting because it's through Ripple's Real USD that the US is going to maintain a fiscal dominance and actually, I believe, potentially look to solve the $36 trillion debt problem. Now, we'll do an entirely separate video because it deserves one on how essentially the tokenization of debt or the using of debt to facilitate a stablecoin can actually essentially liquefy that $36 trillion worth of debt, not only providing a demand for that debt and the staving off of a crisis, but also in doing so actually create a massive injection of liquidity to the world, certainly the US, as a result of that debt now becoming sort of monetized once again. It's a kind of leveraging up of what we see, but it's a very interesting concept. I don't really see anybody exploring. Certainly, we interviewed the CEO of Archax. We did a video on it last week where he spoke about the kind of use of money market funds as a payment system or as a payment, which essentially is a debt instrument. Money market funds are typically treasuries or some sort of bond that has a yield. We're getting a bit high level with it all, but what I want to do is now play this clip now that we've looked at the first one of Jane Fraser, CEO of Citi, $4 trillion daily in terms of volume. Who knows what that is annually? I'm sure you could work that out on a calculator. She's really sort of telling us or told us back then what is taking place today, and we're starting to see XRP move on the kind of realization of all of this. Let's now look at a really interesting aspect on the back end of the Ripple sort of New York regulatory news. Let's now look at Mike Flood, Congressman Mr. Flood, talking about actually how the US is going to maintain dominance through stablecoins. And the stablecoin that they're going to use, absolutely, in my opinion, is going to be Real USD. Even the name gives it away. Let's dive into that.
We need to do to make sure that the US dollar remains the world's reserve currency. Yeah. And with the announcements you're talking about, we're going the right direction.
So tell me about that. How do you keep the dollar as the world's reserve currency while also creating a backdrop for growth in digital assets? What's the plan?
Well, two different approaches. One is stablecoins. And on the Financial Services Committee, we have, thanks to Chairman McHenry and Congressman French Hill and so many other hardworking members, we've put together an entire stablecoin regime. Now, remember, a stablecoin is backed by $1 in a U.S. bank. One stablecoin equals $1. It allows emerging economies in continents like Africa to trade essentially in U.S. dollars using a stablecoin regime that is backed by, American banks. That's what we're excited about in Congress. This isn't about replacing the U.S. dollar. It's about strengthening its power. And then simply creating a market structure where regulators can say, okay, Bitcoin is a commodity. It's going to be regulated by the CFTC. This asset over here is a security, and it would fall under the domain of the Securities and Exchange Commission. We're not talking about building a fancy mansion. We're talking about building a foundation on which digital assets can exist and thrive and unlock that innovation in America that has been really offshored for so long.
So the stars truly are aligned. There's no doubt in my mind that Ripple's Real USD is going to be adopted by the United States to ultimately innovate their entire financial system and maintain the dollar's dominance globally. More broadly than that, not just talking about the US, but talking about globally, we are moving towards a one world system, which has been, you've all heard that. I'm sure I don't need to go too far into that or even really hint any more in regards to where I'm going with that. This technology is going to enable that. And I think people, this is inevitable in my opinion, and there's no harm in investing, I guess, to arbitrage whatever might come on the back end of it. But one thing that is very clear to me is that Ripple now, certainly this was signaled technically for us and has been for a while now. A lot of people look at this pattern, but they don't understand what it is. I believe I understand what it is, and I believe I understand what price this is going to take us to. It's going to put XRP at over $1 trillion market caps. It seemed unbelievable when we were talking about it throughout this period here. Now people are starting to believe and wake up and sort of smell the coffee, as it were. And there's still quite a bit of this journey that is ahead of us. So really, that is it from me, ladies and gentlemen. We get a lot of support and a lot of people asking us to make a lot more XRP content. If you want that, let me know in the comment section, guys. We will facilitate it. We are expanding our team and we might be able to do things a lot more daily on certain projects that you guys like so that this can become your one-stop shop for the cryptocurrency space. Also, go and check us out at allincrypto.com. If you want to become a patron, link in the description. They're all doing very well. That's it from me, guys. I'm going to love and leave you on that note. Thanks for watching. See you all in the next one.